Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr,
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
and you are listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast that we do for people who stab ground cloth.
Stabbing
We're
today.
stabbing. I feel like a stabber today. Yep. Sunday,
Okay.
Sunday, we're going to go off the reservation a little bit. We're going to have Claudia from ColorWay Arts as our guest, and Cartonnage is the
Yes.
$50 word for what she does, which is cloth covered boxes. And Beth,
Yes.
you've done a couple of them, haven't you, from her?
Yes, I've done a few. So this is my first one. It's Cindy Baldwin's fault. This one is.
Yeah, this is
She,
all Cindy's fault. Yeah.
it is Cindy's fault. So you learn how to, these come as little pieces and then you assemble it all together. So this is my first box. And then I've made a couple.
This is next level now. Next level.
So this is Stitch Stories. I had to cut a little off, made a circle and attached it to the top. And then this is my tea box. So my teas. But again, it's a nice surface for mounting embroidery on it.
Yep. For
So
audio listeners, I will have a picture on the website page of the one the best tea box because yeah, she took a Stitch Stories embroidery piece. What is that? Like 6-inch diameter?
yes, I think so. So I had to trim a little off because this is the biggest box.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, this not biggest size wise, but almost a square.
Yeah.
And I trimmed it up so I could make a circle and put this on the top of the box. And I've done it twice. I gave one to my son. It was the mushroom one,
Okay.
um, from Stitch Stories, and I found mushroom fabric to match. It was so much fun to put together.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was going to like it. I thought he was going to leave it with me. And he's like, "No, I'm taking this home." I'm like, "Well, I guess you liked it.
All right.
Okay, good, good."
Yeah. So
So no, they're easy. They're not that difficult to make. I do highly recommend her stuff.
yeah, it's very
But
cool. And yeah, like for listeners, it's a flip top box, and then Beth put this embroidery piece on top of it. That's a kitchen teapot thing, and made it her tea box. And they're just amazing things. And my first thought when I saw them was you're gluing cloth to chipboard. How do you make sure that you don't have wrinkles? And then I watched a little of her video getting ready because we haven't recorded it yet. Getting ready to putting things together, doing research, and she showed how she does this very simple. And
yes,
she even in the video she even had a bunch of wrinkled up cloth that had been not just shoved in a drawer somewhere, and she showed how she just smooths it out. So and you guys, you and Cindy, both your stuff, there's no wrinkles, there's no bubbles, there's no nothing. Cloth over the chipboard. Um, yeah,
no issues. And I keep thinking, because this is a big, I've got another one of these kits in the basement. This is a big, it's a big long piece of fabric that you're wrapping around this. It's a pencil box. And I keep thinking, I know if I just stitch something big and long, I I'll be able to attach it. Now, the problem is um, maybe the glue seeping through the
yeah.
stitching, but I would just put interface behind it and make it a
Hmm.
thicker fabric. That's all you're doing is making it thicker because she recommends using quilting cotton.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that would work. I am pretty, and I'm willing to try it. That's why I keep thinking I need to cut or to fed up because wouldn't it make a cool
Oh,
box?
oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then I could look at it all the time,
Yep.
sitting with my stuff in it.
Yeah. But that's the cool thing is you think because we do needlework here, but uh, they're great boxes for storing because everybody's looking for storage boxes, and these are boxes that are cloth covered, so you can pick your own cloth and
Right.
store it. And you're storing on a chipboard, but between that and your whatever you're storing is cotton cloth, so you don't have to worry so much about acid leaching out of the chipboard, and you can store all kinds of things in a nice box And then if you could, yeah, like cut up portafette and wrap it around there and mount it on there and really fix it up. So,
Right. Right. And the other thing is even just mounting something on the top of these boxes is not that difficult,
right,
to do. And then you can look at your needlework all the time,
right,
with your needlework tools in them or whatever you want to
yeah,
do. It's
yeah. And well, you could take like that box, your tea box. That's one where you could have seasonal needlework
Mhm.
and Velcro,
Correct.
just a
Right.
real easy tack Velcro, and you could switch it out uh,
Right.
throughout the year. Yeah, there's all kinds of uses for it, and she has box designs on top of box designs. It's frightening.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And I think it's fun because then you get to use if you're a prolific stitcher, which you and I tend not to be.
right.
We're a little slower. But if you do a lot of it, it's a great way to display your pieces or to give them away into something that's useful. Because
Yep.
these are fun. They're not that hard to make, a couple of days with drying time
Yeah. Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Well, when I watched the video, because I thought, oh, I don't know, that seems, but no, there's not. They're easy, and
Yes.
she has it all set up so it's real easy to follow the directions. You can tell. And I thought, oh
Hmm.
heck, I could do one of those and have it come out. Because that's the thing, I buy a kit and then it comes out and it's all kind of bubbly and wrinkly and no,
No, no,
no,
no. Even if you make a mistake, and I've made a mistake on all my boxes. I mean, like I cut when I wasn't supposed to. She goes,
no.
now if you cut here, you were supposed to, but we can fix it. This is what you do. And I'm like, oh, good. I like you. I like you.
Uh,
For those of you who rush ahead, or I was in autopilot is actually what
yeah,
happened. And I was like, I knew I wasn't supposed to cut that. I knew
yeah,
it.
yep. So cartonnage is the topic. Sunday, ColorWay Arts, colorwayarts.com, I believe it is. Claudia is going to be with us. It's yeah. I was looking through just doing the research, and I stopped myself because I was starting to put together an order when I needed to get the research done.
Yes,
So
yes,
now
yes. That's that.
I'll go back and do the order. Yeah, because I got to have
Yes,
one
yes.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's Sunday, and then our third and fourth Canvas shows are up. So wetalkfiber.com/canvas, and we made a change. Beth brilliantly suggested this. We made a change. So instead of having several topics in one show, we're breaking it up. So we're doing individual shows for each topic. So it's easier to find them, find what you're interested in, so on and so forth. And that reminds me, I got to go take the laying tool segment out of the second one and make it its own video. So we did two. We did one on Congress cloth, and then we did one on needles. And so those are the two that are up. And everything is at wetalkfiber.com/canvas, or you can go, it's a playlist on YouTube. Either way. Um, so those are, and then the third and fourth ones, it was storing thicker thread. And we've got, that was interesting. And then I forget what the other one was. We recorded 4 in one day. Um,
Yeah, we did a lot. Did we do one on Congress cloth?
yeah, that's what's up now. Congress cloth and needles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then well, it doesn't matter. That's going to be in April. So that'll come out. And then follow that, subscribe, because in the interim, we have a habit of putting up other needlepoint shorter shows or whatever as they come up. And as people make suggestions, they
Yes.
generate shows. So if you have questions or suggestions, post them. And because you'll generate a show, a segment, you never know what you'll generate out of that. So yeah,
Right.
do that. So those are up. And on Patreon, patreon.com/fibertalk, we encourage you to support us through Patreon. We just put up a new piece where Robin and she took some kickback and stitch charts. Now, kickback and stitch is a designer. She's passed away now. Her husband kept it going. And you can buy those charts. They're not expensive. They're small needlepoint, cotton canvas needlepoint designs. What'd she say? Like 4 inches across?
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah. Uh,
I don't remember.
I think it was like 4 inches, and you do, yeah, 4.5, something like that. I mean, they're small. Um, large drink coaster size, basically. And she took, so several of them are named for a master artists, master painters. And then she went to, got the
Thread nuts.
thread nuts, painter's threads that matched up. There were 7 of them she did where she matched them up and then used her own colors. So we did a whole video on what she did with those threads, with those designs. Really some cool stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Very neat. Those, and those are really because they're classic designs. You can do all sorts of stuff with them. They're not going to get old.
yeah.
Once you change the colors, you just modernize it. It's a great show. It was a great show.
That was a lot of fun. And the cool thing is, in the center of these designs is about a 1 inch square space that's empty. It's for you to put something in. So she went, said she went to Joann's when they were open and got a big button and put in one. And she had a big gemstone, like plastic gemstone, that she put in one. And so, I was thinking as we were talking about it, and I think I even mentioned in the show, just going to your jewelry box or an estate sale with your pieces and just get lapel pins or whatever and
Right.
stitch them in there. Yeah.
Well, and you can get sparkly brooches too.
Whose brooches?
Sparkly, like they're,
Oh, sparkly. Oh,
bling.
oh, I
Yeah,
thought you were
like
giving me
really
a brand
blingy.
name.
No, 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 no. You can at like the five and dimes.
Oh,
Not the five and dimes, but costume jewelry.
you're
I
aging
can't think of
yourself.
the word.
Five and dime. You're aging yourself.
I know. But 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 you could use those easily.
Yeah.
Um, or if you're like me and you have some fancy beads you've collected over time that you thought, one of these days I'm going to use these.
Here they go.
Because that's what I thought of. Because I have
Yep.
some beads that are fantastic. That would look fabulous the center of one of those. And
Yeah.
then pull your colors from the beads because you already have the bead, and then you pull your colorways out that way.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And then in a couple of them, she just stitched. She even actually invented a stitch. She took a stitch and invented her own variation. Looks very
Right.
cool. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So there's a video up on Patreon about that. That was great fun. And then I've got one that I got so busy over the weekend I didn't get it finished, but it's in several parts. Um, Sue Reed offered a suggestion for how to blend threads when we were talking about if you have 2 dye lots and they don't match and how do you blend. And so I took that and then I went too far with it and had some fun. So, but it was,
Yeah, that'll be fun when that you
yeah,
would drop that one.
yeah, I got to get that piece together because it became a technical exercise as much as it was a stitching exercise because I had my GoPro on a head harness, so it was on my forehead like a miner's helmet, like a coal miner helmet, and the battery ran out, and I thought it had overheated because those cameras will do that if they're in an area where there's not much moving air, but no, the battery went out, and I was stitching basket weave and I turned on the camera, but I never hit record. So I got the most important part all finished, proudly went to turn off the camera and never recorded a thing. So I had to tear it all out and do it all over again. It was just this all day effort. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up. So patreon.com/fiber talk if you want to support us. $5 a month and $10 a month are the 2 options. And we would appreciate that. And now we have a TikTok channel.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's been an experience. So I'm trying to put stuff up, trying to get more regular. Wasn't going to do it till Beth came up with an app that allows me to do it on my phone and put stuff up there. And so I'm getting a little more proficient at that. I got to get more regular at my posting. But yeah,
Follow,
so
follow Fiber Talk on TikTok.
I know, I know. So we do have a TikTok, so follow us there and posting some things there. And so if you're a TikToker, add us to your list, please. Yep.
Yeah. And share and like and comment. Always, always,
Always,
always, always.
please, please. It makes such a difference, and I keep forgetting to mention it.
Yes.
All right, I'm dying to know, absolutely dying to know, and I'm not making this up. I really am. We had No Rules Textile Society. What was her name? Oh, come on.
Jane Anderson.
Yes, Jane Emerson.
Anderson.
Eh,
I thought it was Anderson.
Okay, it was Jane, Jayne, uh, British spelling of Jane. Anyway, No Rules Textile Society. Beth joined. Beth joined.
I joined
So
for a month.
for a month. Okay, so but behind the paywall, what what do we get? What do we learn?
Well, I decided to join for a year after I joined for a month. So what she has, in fact, I sent her a note. I said, Jane, how do I do this? And she says, I did it for you. Is that okay? And I'm like, perfect. We're done. Good. Um, I
Your
love her.
self control
Anyway,
just entertains me to no end. I'll tell you.
well, yeah, I the thing is I'm learning so much. So every 6 weeks, I think she does it every 6 weeks. She puts up a new prompt, and that's behind the paywall. So this month was display. And so I was following along. I didn't join any of this. They're on Zoom, when everybody shows what they're doing, she announces the prompt, and then people say, "This is what I'm doing for the prompt." And then they throw around ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then once every week or so, they do a Zoom just discussing the prompt and discussing what people are doing. And it's fantastic because
Mm-hmm.
they don't just, it's one lady took her dress that she made with um, embroidery that she done with soluble, it's soluble fabric. You stitch on it and then you dissolve the fabric away. So it's very lacy like. Well,
Uh
she
huh.
took her dress out to the woods, I think, and took a photo of it. It was fantastic. It was just got my little mind a going. But okay, so that's the prompt. And I thought, okay, so what's all these other ones? She's got a huge long list and tufted details, weave, paint and ink, nature. And I hadn't even
These are
looked
the
at those.
prompts. So tufted
These are the
detail is a prompt. Oh man.
oh, okay, but one of my favorite, I haven't looked at this one yet, is one fabric, 10 ways.
Whoa.
Okay. I took a moment because I'm working with lace a lot recently, and I looked at the one that said lace, and I was like, okay, what does she do with lace? And they're just little 3-minute videos of what she did with lace. These are older. I think it was 2021 or something that she did that prompt. And I thought, okay, so there's cute little videos about what you can do and what she did and just ideas. But as I went further on, there's Zoom sessions there that she recorded. So people discussing what they did with lace with that prompt. And so I said, well, what else is there? So then I started digging more because we're getting ready to record this. And there's one that they did in January that was the one that she just did. It was called You. And I thought, You? What's You? YOU. Okay, now I got to look. And so the prompt was to do like a mood board of, so what are you thinking about? Sort of an artist board of,
Okay.
because and I wondered about it because they kept saying, "Oh, look at your mood board behind you on these Zoom meetings." It's like, what are they talking about? So there's a whole another group of videos for me to watch to get inspiration from. Like, how do and I think the idea behind it is if you're an artist, how do you find your voice? How do you find um, your kind of your path? What makes you as an artist? Instead of just copying everybody else's stuff,
Yeah.
how do you say what you want to say? And I'm super curious about that one. I cannot wait to watch those. My
Okay.
problem is I start watching them and then I immediately have to hit pause and go play in my art room
Right,
because I've
right,
got a trillion ideas running through my head.
right. Well, but that's the thing. I mean, those are all those prompts you've listed immediately got my wheels spinning. Like, what would I do for that? And I was coming up with ideas.
Right, right.
Wow.
So,
So, so
okay,
this is
okay.
these are so good that they're stimulating you to the point where you just stop right there because I got to go see what I have and what I can do.
What I can do. And in
Well,
fact, it's even just okay. I've only I joined whenever we spoke to her for a month
and by the
ago.
way, it is I looked it up. It is Jane Emerson. So I remembered.
Emerson.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
you were very good, very good.
Just for the
So,
record, Jane Emerson. Yes.
so all right. So I list all I had done to the point of 2 or 3 days ago was do their display, listen to the display zooms, and listen to these ladies talk about their art. And and then I posted something. I said, I've got this piece. I'm not happy with it. And immediately all the feedback was positive, encouraging, and a few great ideas. A few maybe
Oh,
not things I might try right away, but good ideas and encouragement. Total encouragement. And that's great because I've been in groups where somebody's got to be a negative Nelly,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
to say, I got to tell you, I don't like that. And saying you don't like something is okay if it's feedback that'll, like, you're, it's maybe off center a little bit. Have you thought about moving your focal point or,
Mm-hmm.
um, something that, moves the project forward, not just, I don't like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
None of those.
it's called constructive criticism, folks. Yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
like it, have something. Have
Right.
something. Yeah.
Have something to say. So they I had an art day at the library with my friend Cheryl, and we are always egging each other on. My husband always asks, "Oh, you're seeing Cheryl? What kind of trouble are you getting into today?" He knows. And Cheryl and I were both offended the last time. It's like we're just going to be at the library. It's not like we're going someplace.
Yeah, Max has seen the movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He knows. He knows.
Yep.
So I printed on my art quilt. I just took paint and I printed. Now this is a print from a pressed glass piece of something I had. And
Uh-huh.
I just thought, oh, this will work. And Cheryl kind of laughed at me from across the room. She goes, "You're going wild over there." Because I was printing on paper first. And then I printed on here more a stencil. But it knocked back the white, which I needed to do, which gave me another layer.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just keep thinking I need to cut this piece. So we're talking about, we'll do a video maybe of that, but just cut this like right here
Uh-huh.
and cut it up and maybe reassemble it. But I think the No Textiles group gives me encouragement to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the worst that can happen? You cut it up.
So this really is a positive, move forward, creative discussion group. So
Right,
Jane basically has set the right environment atmosphere for creativity
correct,
because
correct.
that's when you talked about it, uh, uh, people making suggestions in the right environment. People will make suggestions and they don't have the expectation that you will follow their idea to the letter. It's
Right,
just simply here's something that might take you down this road or over here. You do you, but this might take you there to
right,
something that works for you. I mean, that's a whole different environment from do it my way. I know
right,
better. Do it my way, and I'm going to be upset if you don't give it a try. Yeah,
right, right.
that's a different world. Yeah.
Right. And and just the ideas coming from them when I said, "Oh, I'm thinking of painting on it." And they were like, "Well, you really ought to try this because, or go watch these videos first before you do your
Mm-hmm.
painting on it, to see the technique behind it." So, again, very encouraging. And I think the other thing is the um, just the idea of expressing yourself. There, everybody's doing um, similar. They're working in textiles, but
Hmm.
everyone's like Holly is in there, and
Yeah.
obviously she's doing stump work.
Right.
And one of the ladies, I actually was like, um, they had a lecturer on, and I was like, I think I've seen her stuff before, and I had um, on Instagram, and she does very minimalist stitching over using nature. So taking rose thorns and stitching them onto a piece of fabric and then displaying them.
Uh huh.
So very arty,
Yeah.
um, but just interesting, just kind of
Yeah.
getting my mind going.
So this literally works. This no rules um, is literally working. Well, you signed up for a year, so it's obviously working um,
Right. It-
for you. Wow, that's pretty
right.
cool.
And I think it's not, again, it's not for everybody because it's obviously these are um, people who like to stretch the boundaries. So if you're not
Right.
that kind, if you're kind of more of a rule follower, you probably might not find it enjoyable because
Right.
it's
Right.
very much not rules,
Right.
no rules. So just,
Well,
just kind of or start again or, whatever,
yeah.
tear it apart.
Yeah. But that's the whole concept. And so they stick to that. No rules. Like there's no
Mhm.
it's just free and open, simulate ideas, listen to
Right,
others, take what
right,
you can out of it. If you don't get
right,
anything, you don't get anything. Whatever.
right. And I think some of the people are trying to are there's a group of them that are obviously trying to sell their work. They're trying to sell their
Oh.
artwork,
Mhm.
not just be in shows, but to take their artwork and make a business out of it.
Yeah.
And they're encouraging that way. That was the other thing I noticed on a lot of the videos. It's like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. And they were very encouraging. We'll try XYZ, this might work for you, but it's always positive
Yeah.
encouragement.
Yeah. So sounds like absolutely worth it so far.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I figured, it was better to go ahead and jump in and get the gear than dribble every month because I tend to watch videos when I exercise. So for me to have that constantly being there was is good. It
Yeah.
gives me something to, and my only problem is I do want to hit pause on the videos and stop exercising and go play in my craft room.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, but that's
definitely
you
got
know,
this
that's
going.
what happens to me too. So much my bike rides. They're exercise, but I get so much out of them because if something happens in exercising after you get started and get loose, where your mind just starts to work.
Right,
And when you have videos like that, yeah, so now you want the workout to be done because you got to go act on what you
right,
saw.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right, right. And eh, the most the thing that makes me the most curious though is where it's going to take me. Where is this going to take me in the long
hmm,
run? Because I do a lot of different kinds of needlework. And I've been thinking more, where is my voice? What do I really like to do? Where do I, we have limited time. Where am I going to go with all this?
yeah, yeah.
And so this is kind of pushing that idea forward in my head, I think too.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
mhm.
So,
It'll
so
be fun.
if you never figure that out, does it matter to you?
And no, I don't think it really matters because I realize I enjoy the process of stitching. I
Okay.
can't just stick with one technique. I couldn't just cross stitch because after a while I want to do something with different threads. I want to play with needlepoint and do something bigger. Or I want to do surface embroidery. I want to play with the metal threads in my casket. I want to see if I can do the needle lace, make it look better, make it all that shiny stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Because that's I asked that question because that can drive you nuts if you feel like you have to find yourself or you have to find your North Star, that kind of thing can drive you nuts because maybe there isn't one and you just enjoy the process of textile arts. You just
right,
enjoy, depending on your mood, your whim, time of year, you just enjoy doing textile arts. And maybe that's all it ever is.
right.
Where for some people, they lock in. And was it Elizabeth Sullivan out there in Australia? She is locked in. She has figured out, and this is what she's going to do, and she's going to clearly going to explore every aspect of it. Um,
Right.
you know, but for some people, it isn't that. There isn't a thing.
Right.
It's it's the it's the body of it. I guess I'm not describing it well, but yeah,
Right. Well, but I also think that, I get kind of I like copying other people's patterns. I'm, doing any sort of needlework where I have a chart and I can just go. There is that, there's enjoyment in that. I enjoy
yeah,
doing that. But I also feel like I have enough techniques under my belt. Can't I create something that's totally on my own? And
hmm,
that's where I'd kind of like to do at least a little bit of something
yeah,
and jump out of that
yeah.
box a little.
And see,
But
and along those lines is I had a thought the other day on a bike ride. I went I went for a bike. It's right. I remember it specifically. Random thing. Decided to drive an hour to a little town in the middle of nowhere, down kind of on the fringe of the Ozarks. And I rode a route that I'd done 2 years ago. All dirt roads call a big portion of it is the Trail of Tears when they forced the Native Americans to travel to Oklahoma from Florida. And I mean, just absolute middle of nowhere, just nothing. And I was having kind of those thoughts because there's nothing, just beautiful scenery and dirt roads. And I thought, about creating something on my own. And then I thought, well, all right, how do how is best to go about it? And then I wondered about taking one of those EGA master programs. Would that be a way to build up to creating something myself?
possibly.
Or is there some structure ahead of the blank slate creativity part that makes it work, or do you just sit down and just do it, and trial and error till you get something? I don't know.
Yeah. It depends. I think some of the classes would be good. There's the if you have because of your photography already have design down, I think, because
Mm-hmm.
composition, basic
Yeah,
composition. I
yeah,
think if you don't know basic composition or have never taken anything, you need to start somewhere or even color. Color is so important. Um, Unless you're just going to limit that. And oftentimes I do. If I'm doing something on my own, I keep a very limited palette because that makes it much easier to work on. If
mm-hmm.
you use an analogous colorway, it's easy. Or you use something monochromatic, it's going to work
Right, right.
because it's
Safe,
monochromatic.
safe.
It's
Yeah.
safe,
Mm-hmm.
safe,
Right,
safe. But if you're really going to expand, like whatever Orna does with the
right,
colors,
right.
or even Debbie Rowley's colorways,
Yeah,
or that those are quite spectacular. And you might need a little more color theory, you know,
right.
if you're not confident in it.
Yeah. And see, I am not, as we've established many times. I am
Right,
not. But yes, the composition part, absolutely, no problem. Yeah.
right.
It was just an interesting string of thoughts that I had. How would you go about that if you truly wanted to create your own piece?
Mhm.
What path do you take? And now you just laid out two paths. Is it a composition path? Is it a color path? And then you work out the composition, or a composition, you work out the colors. Is it an inspiration and then you figure out how to do it? How do you execute that? Yeah, I don't know. Hmm.
Right. Right. And that's the thing. I have a trillion ideas running around in my brain. Actually, I've started writing them down because I realize I have the same ones, same basic ideas again and again.
Oh, oh,
But now I need to, it's like I'm getting ready to refine them and see if I can do them. And I really do think I've got enough technique now that I can execute a couple of them.
okay. So that's happening in your head then. These two or three keep popping up. I should probably write them down and act on them and see what comes out of it. Oh,
Right.
okay.
And
Uh
and
huh.
and instead of just going for it, instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm just going to try it," I think I've realized I can't do that. I need a little bit more structure. I know Cheryl has said, my friend who we've done videos with, she doesn't do sketches before. She does a little sketch like this is my basic idea,
Yeah,
but she doesn't
yeah,
do real. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to use this technique here. I'm going to do these things here. She just starts. She has a basic idea and she just goes for it. And I found that doesn't work for me. I
yeah.
need a little bit more structure.
But that's Cheryl though. From her
Hmm.
art, yeah. I can see that she just needs. It just comes out of her naturally.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I think for some people that does. They don't need a sketch so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who did we talk to the other day with weaving? Because she said that she doesn't make sketches.
Oh, uh, just this past Sunday. Who
I
was it?
know.
What's her name?
I know. I can't think of
Waxed entanglement.
entanglements.
Largent.
Kelly?
Kelly. Kelly
Kelly.
Largent. Yes, we pieced it
Yeah,
together.
so she doesn't use a sketch.
Yeah.
She has an idea and then she moves forward with it, takes things out and puts things back in. And you can
You
do
know,
that.
side note, folks who are listening, why can't we recall the name? Why don't we have it written down? None of this is on the list of things to talk about. We do this
No,
all the time, and then we got to recall, what on the fly. It's not that we're not prepared. It's just this is not on the list.
it's
So
not on the list.
yeah,
No.
we don't.
Yeah. We went off the
Right, right.
paper,
We
but
just yeah, but
started.
there's a classic example. I mean, Kelly, Wax Entanglement just this past Sunday. Yeah, she just builds a frame out of wood and goes for it.
Right.
And I'm sure has an idea in her head. She probably doesn't realize she has an idea in her head, but just goes for it and
Right.
and builds from there, which is
Right.
amazing to me because her stuff is buttoned right down. It's not like it's some random haphazard abstract thing. Her stuff is
No.
buttoned right down, but so creative. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right. So yeah, and then you go to the other extreme where people do little little samples of things and put them in a
Mm-hmm.
book and they do all their little samples until they're ready to do their final project. So again, I think I need something in between those two
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking. But
yeah. Well,
yeah,
the whole thing is so fascinating to me, and tying this back into the No Rules Textile Society. So it sounds like all of those people with all of these different ways of getting to a final product, a final piece of art, are gathering together, and so
right,
you're getting these multiple facets of a thing that are all trying to get to some endpoint that
right,
expresses them. Interesting.
right. That expresses their art in their
Yeah,
way. And
yeah,
right. And I think it's the idea that you've got creative people bouncing. Creative people do need other creative people to bounce ideas off of.
mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that close by, people look at you like, "Oh, yeah, you're gonna you're gonna do what?" It's kind of nice to have somebody who you can say, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and they're like, "Ooh, let us know how it turned out."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You do you. Yeah.
No, yeah,
But it's the whole and this is this is probably Patreon type show rather than general consumption, but the whole creative process uh, and how people all different paths people take to get to an endpoint, whatever that endpoint
right.
is just amazing because and I too often go to the music world, but there's more than one story about Taylor Swift, who is always writing in her phone ideas and stories about her being like at dinner with somebody, and immediately you can tell she's in another world because somebody said something or she heard something, and she's got to get it down because it could become a tune, a song, a melody, a whatever. And then, I'm sure she's got a million of them that never see the light of day. But a lot of musicians are like that. There's I forget what the song is, the Eagles song. Joe Walsh. It all came out of is a warm up exercise he did before a concert. And one of the other guys in the group heard it and said, "Wait a minute, what is that?" Well, it's just this dumb thing I do that gets my fingers loose. No, it's a song. And then it becomes one of their best songs ever. And you get that stuff all the time. The smallest thing becomes
Right,
a piece of
right.
art.
Well,
Yeah.
and yeah, so always, and you've got to write down the ideas. I know that we're talking about doing some carving, stamp carving, so we can print. Cheryl
Oh,
and I are we're bouncing ideas off, and so I kept thinking, well, how do you do the Trinity? How would you find the Trinity? And then my son said, well, look up Celtic knot Trinity symbols,
oh,
and immediately
there it was.
a bunch of there it was, and I just now I had to go find my I know where they are, my carving materials
Uh huh.
because I have some obviously,
Uh huh.
and do some carving, do some stamp carving
Mm hmm.
so I can print on fabric, so I
Yeah.
can add another layer to
Right.
uh, the stuff we dyed the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, and
always
let's just transition right to that the dyeing you guys were doing because
yes,
you posted pictures of when you had done the dyeing or you were preparing, and then you said you had to wait to for the end
to take care.
result. So
Yeah.
how did that stuff come out? Did were you
Oh,
was well? All right. Let me ask this question. You and Cheryl were doing a bunch of dyeing,
yes.
and so you did several things, and you posted some pictures of that. Out of that, how many were you? This isn't going to come out right, but how many were you happy with? How many do you feel were keepers?
One.
One. Okay.
One that I absolutely said, this is great. I love it. I got to do this again. Um,
Uh,
one of them I did it was with yellow and it's little pebbles, and you put a lot of we did shibori dyeing. So you basically it's like tie dyeing where you tie little rubber bands or you tie string around and you tie it real tight and then it causes a resist. So it makes circles or whatever you want. So one I did with the little pebbles and it came out with little circles, and I did it with yellow fabric, with yellow dye, I'm sorry. And so you really can't see it that well unless you look at it right. But I thought, okay, perfect. Base layer. I can add another layer on that. Um, I did some white fabric where I did blue dye and I tried to do some sewing in it, which is the original shibori dyeing, where you take stitches and you crumple it, and it makes a resist.
uh huh.
And that didn't work out so good. It, in fact, the thread I used dyed into my fabric. It caused it to cause a little pink.
Oh,
So that was
oh,
like, that's okay. It was, it wasn't, it just didn't work so well. And then the one I loved, she had some children's plates and we tied them real tight with string and then dyed those. And when you look closely at it, it looks like a geode. And
Oh,
those I loved.
those worked.
I didn't like the color as well like that I chose because I
Hmm.
used fuchsia, which is really bright. And I thought, oh, I got to try this again.
Yeah.
I gotta try this again. But again, when we were doing it, it was just to play. I knew what was going to happen with the circles, with the pebbles. I didn't think my stitching was going to work so well because that to really do that well, you've got to take time and plan it because I've done that before.
Hmm.
So it was just to play. And then, but the plates, I had no idea
Yeah.
if they would work.
Yeah. And
So,
if people want to do learn about shibori dyeing, Suzanne Connors, October 5. I actually looked it up. It's right here on my screen. October 5. Check her out. A show we did with her. But okay, so you guys meet at the library. This library of yours is like none other in the world. I'm absolutely convinced. And you're dying. So how do you have a room where there's water and you can dye?
well, first of all, when we first started doing this, they had carpet in that room. They have since changed to tile because of us. We did dump one time a whole we dyed from quart jars. It was a quart jar of
You
black and
didn't. You didn't.
yeah, it wasn't me, but somebody did. I won't mention any names.
Oh
Um
no. On carpet?
and so luckily we had a vacuum and one of those vacuums that you can vacuum liquid up. We got most of it cleared. I think after that they got approval to get this because
Oh
it gives
man.
more opportunity because the kids come in there and they paint and
Oh.
they and glitter,
Uh,
they do all sorts of fun stuff in there. So it's easier to clean. That was an obvious. I think the carpet was in there before
yeah.
I moved here. Anyway, so dyeing the way we dye doesn't require a lot of liquid. It requires quart jars of dye and then soda ash was what we use for the I guess that mordant. And so that doesn't take up it takes up a big dish pan. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of liquid. And we put in, plastic cloths and people can wear gloves if they don't want their fingers blue or yellow or pink, purple.
Or whatever, yeah.
Right. And then we use plastic bags, which
Oh,
is the
okay.
easiest way. So you're not using a lot of dye. The dye is very concentrated.
Hmm.
Um, and it, it's pretty much easy. It's a science. We've gotten it down to a science. We could even measure it out if we wanted to. Normally we're too lazy. We just dump it in and like shake up the bag. Oh yeah, that looks like it's right.
Like a chef,
'Cause
just a little of
yeah,
this, little
just
of
yeah,
that, and go for it.
rule
Yeah.
that, yeah. But we've done it so often that we pretty much know the results we're gonna get. And it's a lot of fun to do those dye workshops. Especially ice dyeing, it's a lot of fun to do there. But then it's powder. We use powder dye and you got to be careful with that because you
Yeah.
don't want to sneeze. You do not want to inhale that stuff.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
Huh.
but yeah, it doesn't require, you got to take the stuff home and rinse it. You got to rinse it at home because
Okay.
it's got to sit. It really is better if it sits 24 hours. I think the manufacturer says in 3 hours, the dye is no longer reacting, but we normally let it soak in the liquid for 24 hours. And then you want to get the ash out of the soda out of it. So
Okay.
it doesn't, because that's caustic, it's going to eat your fabric.
Right.
So you want to stop the reaction.
Hmm.
Basically. So you rinse it at least once, and then I've let it sit for 48 hours or a week after that if I've been busy before I rinsed it.
Oh, okay.
But the intensity of the color and so it doesn't what's it called when it leaves, it doesn't stay. So we've never had Cheryl's made a lot of quilts out of her fabric and she's not ever had like her fabric fade after we've dyed it.
Okay. Doesn't
And
leach
we've
out.
had doesn't leach out. No, we have had problems like my I've stamped this with I think it's an ink. Oh, it's blowing out. Yeah, yeah, right there. It's stamped and it's fading, and it's not been in the sun or anything, but it was the ink. The ink faded, and I've
Oh.
written on this. The ink is still there. You can see it, but it's a little faded too. The ink
Mm-hmm.
eventually fades, and so we were discussing that one day, and Cheryl said, "Yeah, it does. Some of that stuff does kind of bleach." She's had problems with that. If it's been in the sun or any sort of, it does come out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the intensity of the stuff we've dyed has not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lots of
Huh.
fun.
So,
So
but like you said, this is just play. Let's just see what can this be.
right.
Now, I gather more than sorry, folks, no stitching. This no, we'll get some stitching in, but it's fascinating. So I gather that more than you, Cheryl, will use. Like you do it, you get some cloth. You might get one that you might use, but you don't worry about it too much. Where Cheryl will take the dyeing that she does and actually implements it. Is it?
Right. She uses it. She knows where she set up the program. And so she knew she needed some fabric dyed for the next project she was doing. So she
Oh,
specifically did colors for that. And I was just there playing. I was just there playing. I didn't have an idea, but I have gone and we have done things and I thought, okay, I know what I'm doing with this fabric. I need this color
uh huh.
and specifically dyed for it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
So it
yeah,
just
it just
depends.
depends, but it just depends. And then I knew too that I wanted to make some layers, that I wanted to play with this cloth. And it's getting sunny enough now that I could do some solar printing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can print on white fabric, that's fine, but it's kind of fun to already have one layer down. So I now have at least two pieces that I can add a layer to.
Okay, so this exercise then gave you a foundation that you can now go back and build on with some other idea.
Right,
Okay,
right,
all right,
right, right. And
interesting.
that's to me, that's the fun in it. That's where
Yeah,
it's play because I
yeah.
don't know what's going to happen on the next layer. And as Cheryl says, or you can use it as a rag. You
Uh,
know,
yeah,
the colors aren't going to, you can use it to clean and then throw it away. It's fine.
yeah.
You've done all the fun stuff. It doesn't matter.
Right, right. Ah, interesting. But out of it all, you learn things.
You learn.
Yeah.
You learn.
So if
You
you have
learn.
come along with a specific idea, you have a body of knowledge to draw from that
Correct.
will get you there quicker. Okay, so it's
Right.
worth it. Every effort's worth it. Yeah,
Right. Right. And sometimes it just is supposed to be play. It's just supposed to be, I'm playing.
yeah.
I'm just having some fun.
But still, something comes out of it, no matter what.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Huh. Okay,
Right.
all right. I mean, what a great way to spend a day, quite frankly.
Right.
You
Right. It
know,
was fun.
why not? Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. All right. A couple more things. I went and bought some rings from Michaels. So I'm going to do some Dorsett buttons. I've been wanting to try because I have those books from Gina B's Silkworks, and so I've been wanting to try. So well, you were the one that told me what rings to buy, and so I went there and bought the last two packages of rings that they had on the rack, and then there were some uh, elongated wooden beads in a package
Yeah.
and with holes in the middle, of course. And so I took that package too because I thought, oh, maybe I'll make a tassel here just to see. Maybe I'll haul out the uh, uh, I'm not remember the lady's name.
Passementary.
Hmm?
The passementary book. What
Right.
is her name?
Yeah, that lady. So I may
Mm-hmm.
make a tassel or two. But just thinking about just trying these things. But I joined the Facebook group for Dorsett buttons. Holy smokes! Whoa, that ain't
Yes.
fair. That ain't
No.
fair. Whew.
No. Yeah. And one thing is, once you get started on doing those Dorset buttons, they are kind of mindless to do the wrapping around,
Mm-hmm.
putting the buttonhole stitch around the edge. And it does take time to do, but that's mindless TV stitching.
But those are works of art. Those women in
Yeah.
that group, holy smokes! I got caught up
Mhm.
just going through them one day. Stop it, it's just
Right, right.
and they're just these little rings, and what they build into those things is amazing. So I
Yes.
got to try. I got to
Yeah, you
start,
do. You do.
start with the basics. You know,
Right,
learn how to wrap, learn how to get something to go across the middle, and go from there. Yeah,
right, right. And they're fun. I think they're fun to make. I've been thinking about because the guild had a teacher come and teach that, and I keep on thinking, oh, I gotta pull that back out again and just do some mindless, get the wrapping done, and then decide what I'm going to do in the middle later.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yep.
but yeah,
I gotta
lots of
try. So
fun.
I had to try. Um, I can't
I look
think. I'm
forward to
trying to
seeing
think
that
who the
experiment.
trying to
Yeah,
think who the
I can't think.
passementary lady was. What's her name? Ah,
And I can see
again.
her. I can see her book in my head
Yep,
too.
yep. Well,
Terrible.
oh, and then they had there in the same rack they had a macrame
Oh, did they?
a cord, but it was really thick cord, and I don't want to do thick. I want to do something thinner. So then I thought, well, all right, I'm going to come home and haul out the number three uh, pearl that I have. It's number three, right? 3, 5, yeah,
3, 5, and 8, 12,
right. So I'm going to
16.
haul that out, and because I want to do something like at that level, I don't want to do rope. Um,
No,
yeah, so
no.
yeah, got to
Bring out the
try.
macrame again. Yeah,
Yeah, got to try. Yeah,
yeah.
because Isabella. Anyway, her beginner macrame book we show 3 or 4 weeks ago. We did that one. Yeah, Isabella. Yeah, it'll come to me. Um, and then what you and Kim have now egged yourselves into.
The North
Uh,
Carolina sampler
yeah, well, more
from
power to
Hard
you.
Seas. Well, it's we were talking back and forth, and I've seen some people make progress on it through Facebook, and it looks gorgeous. The all the trestle stitches, all the colors in it, and I think, and it's a monster.
Yeah,
You need a half a yard of fabric,
yeah, it's big. Yeah.
big. Uh, so we've encouraged each other to start it.
Okay. So you're starting by
We'll see.
April 1 then. So if people want to join in and stitch the North Carolina sampler from Heartsease
Yeah,
with Kim and Beth by April 1. And what Kim has Vicky Clayton silks for that. You can get
right.
Vicky Clayton silks, or I'm sure she has it cut it other ways. But um,
And fabric and yeah, all the things and the charts. And, again. Um, but yeah, it's big, and I think Kim has divided that up so you don't have to buy all the threads all at once.
yeah,
At least not the needlepoint ink. I think she's divided it so you can buy packs of them.
right, yeah, because that's yeah,
It's,
if you
it's an
get into it.
investment.
If you get into it, what the chart alone is like $60, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then there's 80 threads.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a truckload of threads. Yeah,
Right, right, right. It's not a little threads, it's a
right.
lot of threads.
But they have,
But
but Kim and Vicky both have it broken up what by bands. So you buy the first group allows you to do the top X number of bands and then or X number of things, elements, and then work your way down. So you can
right.
spread out the cost because yeah, 80 threads silk or oh boy, yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
It's a lot, and yeah, they're beautiful. I have some threads here. If you want to see? Do you
Well,
want to
why?
see?
Of course.
Okay, now I got to get them out of my box here.
Because that that just the piece of linen alone that's a chunk of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, this here.
there we go. Yeah.
Then that's the Vicky Clayton
Hmm.
silks, and then here's the other. This is the just the first pack, so it was quite a lot. to
Yeah,
do to get the first pack in.
man, that's a lot of
But they're
thread.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous and a lot of variegation in here
Uh-huh.
because you can see um, the whites to the beige, and then these blues are gorgeous over here. So yeah, I don't know. And then of course there's a trillion trellis stitches on the thing.
Right, right. Well, I can tell just looking at the threads that as always, the picture of the sampler that's on the cover has nothing to do with the beautiful colors. Uh,
No,
yeah,
no.
not a good
And I
representation. Yeah,
no, and I'm dying to stitch that piece because I think it's gorgeous. That big first band with the thistle in the center of
yeah.
it.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
It is. It is.
yeah,
Just what I need, another big sampler to
yeah.
start.
I'm sticking with Botany Bay. I'm not firing up another giant sampler. I'm gonna stick with Botany
Yeah.
Bay. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. I gotta
Yep.
I gotta play with this. I gotta play
So
with this.
yeah, so Sassy Jack Stitchery by April 1. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
get in on it, and it is
Join us.
it is intimidating because you see the chart at $60, and that's a ridiculous number of pages on that chart, and then 80 threads, and if you do silk, that is a truckload of money, and so they like Beth said, they busted it up so you can buy this set and then buy the next set, and it isn't one big fat check that you got to write. It's
Right. Right.
yeah,
And then it is a huge sampler. It's not,
right.
I mean, I guess if you're monogamous and you stitch all the time, you could maybe you could bust it out in a year, but I it's got a lot of she does have it charted for non-specialty stitches. She does start it charted for cross stitch if you want to do cross
Yeah,
stitch.
but no,
But yeah,
you got
no,
to go for it. A
I think
sampler
so.
like that,
Absolutely.
you got to go for it. You got to do all the stitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be gorgeous stitched up, just gorgeous. I can't wait to put needle and thread together with
Hey,
that
more
right.
power to you.
Because
Go
I'm
for it.
crazy. Well, hey, wait a second though. You're thinking about starting something too. You're thinking about starting the Stewart.
Threads
Um,
are on the way. Threads are on
hmm
the way for the Stewart rule. Was it Stewart
Ridicule.
Reticule out of Inspirations Magazine by Betsy Morgan. Yep. Gonna threads are on their way to do that. It's
It's gorgeous.
yeah, I really
I
like it.
love the colors.
Not near as big as the North Carolina sampler, but plenty of challenging stitches in it. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I'll do the thread keep in the needle book. I don't know, but I'm gonna do the main thing, just to stitch it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be pretty. Nice.
all in
Nice piece.
silks, Averiswa silks. Going for it.
Of
Yep.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll do the other things, but I just wanted to stitch the design. I don't give a rip if I finish it or not. It doesn't matter to me a lick. Um, just to experience it. Because
Right.
our old friend the Montenegrin stitches are in there, and why not? What
Why not? I've got to get better. I can do them in a straight line. It's doing the zigzag.
it's the turns.
It's the turns. It's
Yep,
the turns. And if it has a lot of turns, then I might as well just give up and try
yep.
another.
Montenegrin's no problem in a straight line, and then you make a turn, and now it's yeah, hoo boy. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But it looks great when stitched.
Yep. That's called Type 2 fun. Type 2 fun. Yep. It is
Yeah.
a pain and a struggle the entire way, but then when you're done, it go, yeah, that was worth it. Yep.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yep.
Looks so good. Looks so good. Yeah.
Yep. All right. We got to call it there. Oh, yeah. Looking at the clock. We got to call it there. That's it. Patreon.com/fibertalk if you want to support us to get some extra content. And Sunday, we are going to have Claudia from ColorWay Arts. And that is a full enablement show. I can guarantee you, you're going to listen to that and you're going to go to colorwayarts.com and you are going to be enabled. And there is no apology from this end. Nope. Nope. You're going to want to build a box because I'm building a box.
Yes, you will.
I am. I already know what I'm going to get. So, yep. Okay.
Yeah, excellent.
All right, we're out. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
All right, bye.